He's hot, isn't he?
Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the break, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
And a very good day to one and all. This is Betting Weekly Live. You're with myself, Dan Roebuck. Alongside me is Jack Wright. As we talk soccer today, and as we did yesterday, we are delving into the nether regions of divisions and competitions that never usually see the light of day. Or do they? I don't know. Jack, how are you? Do you usually look at EFL Trophy? Is the third tier in France very much in your wheelhouse on a day-to-day betting week? How are you, my friend?
Absolutely. Greetings, Dan. Pleasure to be with you again. And hello to everyone that's tuned in to go, what the hell are they going to be talking about today? Well, yeah, it's an interesting one. But yeah, EFL Trophy, obviously, I'd say yes, a bit, because I'm obviously a fan of the EFL. So that incorporates that. There's generally one or two angles to find. You can tiptoe through a few trappy little affairs, but there's a couple that I like tonight, for example. Yeah, and I think international break does tend to bring a little bit of focus into the other leagues. Obviously, with the major ones being in a hiatus, I think we have the opportunity to look. And there's always angles in different countries. You know, maybe not quite so hot on the team news, but you know, there's certain people that say that's not massively important. We maybe give too much context to that. So, yeah, there's always angles, isn't there? We'll always find them, and we're going to dig out some really interesting winners tonight. I've got a feeling.
I think we'll do all right. We did all right yesterday. Mike was on just before we came on air with a very comment saying, just a quick mention, I hope you all listened to Dan yesterday. Yeah, listen to me. It works out sometimes. And stuck with the overs on the Harrogate game. Apologies, I will resign from my weatherman role, was the first comment in YouTube today. Hello to Rick. Hello to Duncan as well. We talked about the Monday night football game stateside as well, just to give you some of the big bets that we had last night, and indeed and some of the US sports, and all this from one particular punter who didn't have a great time of things because he was looking to play the Chiefs. $256,000 play, my word, -3 on the spreads at -128 against the Jaguars, which was a loser, and then followed up at -132, -152, -125. These are the odds, all at -3, the handicap line, and lost a lot. $92,000, $53,000, $43,000 play. Also on the Phillies against the Dodgers as well. Unfortunately, that was a loser. Oh, in fact, one was a winner. The Brewers on the run line, -1 against the Cubs in the baseball. That was a $200,000 play at +117. So, ironically, of all those big bets, it was the biggest price that came good. Sometimes it's the hot dogs that can get you out of jail. That is for true. Some winners and losers on the soccer yesterday. This was Angel City in the NWSL. $5,000 play live on the money line at -500, so a short price that came good. There was a $3,800 play on Once Caldas on the money line, which was a winner. And somebody who obviously wasn't watching the show yesterday when I was waxing lyrical about the fact that Albacete in the second tier in Spain were scoring far too many goals than their XG suggested that they were going to score. I said, look, get on the unders, get on the both teams to score. No, it ended 0-0. Well, this particular player wasn't watching the show, obviously, had $2,000 on both teams to score yes in the first half, which is a loser, and also $2,000 on over 1.5 goals, which was always a loser. The moral of the story there is make sure you tune in for Betting Weekly Live, and you will.
When will they learn?
Well, when they learn, you'll get some winners. We did have some winners. $55 play on Trevor Lawrence, at least 2 touchdowns in the Jaguars Chiefs game, 70-1. Some nice long price winners here. Atletico Huila against Barranquilla in the Colombian second division. in which was a 3-2 win to the home side in the end, and a better had $1,000, just over $1,100 at 22-1 on the money line. Can't quite work out when this was because they were 2-0 down, Atletico. They won 3-2. They were 2 down with 12 minutes to go. So the power of late goals coming good in the Colombian second division, let alone anywhere else. So well done for that customer. And also a $4,000 play on Patrick Mahomes to score a first half touchdown in the Jaguars Chiefs game, which won $32,000. So well done, one and all. Streams for your pleasure. If you are betting today, you want to watch some action. Oakland Roots against Hartford Athletic, which is USL Championship, second tier, sort of. Stateside, we know there's no promotion relegation, not yet, probably never will be, but you never know. Aren't they introducing it in the lower tiers, I think? 3 Brasileirão Serie B matches. We've got some European basketball, some Shanghai Masters, and we've got some World Darts Grand Prix. Now, yesterday, Nigel threw out winner after winner in the comment section. I don't know if Nigel's around today, but watch out. If you've got any bets in the darts, whack them in the comment section. They're always handy. You a darts fan? Jack, you darts better?
I am actually. I do have a little dabble.
Anything for us in the Grand Prix?
I've got a very good friend of mine who does send me. I don't really do a lot, as in the research and that myself. I trust him. He's very, very good. He sent me it's a like short price treble. He's put 3 of the favourites to win tonight, and in a parlay, and he sent them over to me. I'll find them for you. Yeah, I'll come. I'll come back. Yeah, I'll go and get them. What he sent me. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Good. We like a little parlay on the dust. You can watch it live. On the Bet Rivers app, Bet Rivers website. Villa Van, hi Dan, hi Jack. Raybert says, good afternoon, Dan and Jack. Do you know what? I think a lot of people have taken a tug for today because they've looked at the card and thought, well, what am I going to bet on today? But there's always something. We can always find you something. And to be fair, I've got a couple of decent angles, and I know you're talking about EFL before, but we just want to talk about Women's Champions League first of all, because we get all the figures and we request some figures from our friends at Bet Rivers about what's been bet on. And it all surprised me over the course of the summer when we talked about the Copa America Femenino, which is obviously the Copa America, the women's tournament. And we were requesting, so have you had any big bets in this and that? And there was always some sizable wagers on that tournament. So I suspect, worldwide and certainly in the States, there might be quite a few watching this. And obviously women's soccer in America traditionally has been bigger than it is in Europe, and the American game has generally been stronger, but the Europeans, I would say now, are beginning to catch up. The best that Europe's got to offer, are they better than what the NWSL has to offer? Maybe. There's no tournament between the two teams, so we don't know. But look, we've got some Champions League football tonight in the women's game. Before I get to my thoughts on one game in particular, Tristan says I'm on a 57-1 parlay with the final leg being Hartford to beat Oakwood. Price drifting. Oh well, hedging is for gardeners. So hang on, let's just do a little bit of live. Let's do some live. So this is in the USL, is it, Tristan? This is what we're waiting on. Hang on, hold on, caller. Just hold your horses for a second here. What division are we looking at here?
That guy above him in the comments there, I think he would agree with that last few words there. Hedging is for gardeners. So I think he's picked that up from a wise old shrewd punter.
Yeah, that's the old. Right. So this is.
I don't get to say that very often these days.
Yeah. Hartford to beat Oakwood. So Hartford Athletic are the away team here. And they come into this game off the back of a 2-0 away win at Colorado Springs. I'm just looking at what they've done this season. They've won 3 of their last 4. They won away at Miami. I used to know the owner of Miami. I'm not into Miami, but Miami FC. I don't know if he's still there. But I get your angle here, Tristan, because it looks to me as if Hartford Athletic are very much an away team. They've won their last. I hope I'm not going to jinx this for you. They've won their last 5
if you
away.
do such a thing.
They've won their last 5 away. 6 of the last 7 they've won away, but you need them to win. Hedging is for gardeners. They've won their last 3-0. They are the form team in the USL. I wish you well with that one, Tristan. Hedging is for gardeners, but if something. I mean, would you hedge 57-1, Jack? Would you hedge?
No. In. let it roll.
Normally, I'd say never cash out. And if you go to a dojo episode with Nigel and Nigel and Neil, they will tell you why not to. But I think sometimes you can. And if you've got a lot of money coming your way, I think if it's a bit of a life changer, you can do it. And if something dramatically changes in terms of information, I think you're allowed as well. But
you said there's a drift there. If there's I say you've got to try and get to the bottom of the reason why there's a drift. I guess if it is like absolute crucial news, we had something like a couple of weeks ago with like where was it Monaco who had the flight that where they got delayed, or it was like 100 degrees on the plane when and that was obviously going to be an impact for them going to Club Brugge, I think it was, wasn't it? And those sort of things, you go, oh right, yeah, there's a reason. If it's just a small drift, and I'd probably say stick to your guns because the stats there seem to back it up well. You put them in for a reason in the first place. So
exactly, yeah. Well, something dramatically has got to make you change your mind. Wish you well without watching that one.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
It a little bit later. Good to see, Tristan. The real Brendan King is with us. Hi from Toronto. Right, Women's Champions League here. Now then, the price has gone a little bit, but not as much as I thought it was going to here. We've got 4 games tonight, the Women's Champions League. The new league phase starts tonight. This is something different for the Women's Champions League this season. It's an 18-team format, single group stage. All teams play 6 games. The top 4 go through to a quarterfinal, then positions 5 to 12 go into the playoffs for the remaining quarterfinal stages. So it's a little bit different, but some interesting match day 1 fixtures here, not least at the Emirates, where Arsenal take on Lyon here. Now, the bet here is Lyon. I texted Jack last night. They were plus 150. They're plus 133, and that is still, more than big enough. I expected them to be closer to even money, and they might be by kickoff. I don't know, but I suspect that the betting has probably been done. But there has been a little bit of change. Lyon have been backed at plus 133. Arsenal, of course, are the European champions. Lyon, 8 times winners, which is a record, but they haven't won it since 21-22. Arsenal, as people probably know or maybe are across, beat Barcelona in the final. Real good, disciplined performance. Stina Blackstenius with the winner. They have invested this season. They bought Olivia Smith for a lot of money. She's got a really good goal on her debut against London City Lionesses, but hasn't scored since. And Arsenal have been a little bit patchy in the Women's Super League so far this season. They won their first 2 games, but they're without a win in 3. They were beaten by Man City at the weekend 3-2. Prior to that, 0-0 draw with Man United and a 1-1 draw with Aston Villa, where they conceded very late on. Now, Lyon have bought really big over the course of the summer. A lot of really good players. Marianne Antoinette Catato from Paris Saint-Germain, who scored bundles of goals. Jule Brand from Wolfsburg, who's a top midfielder. A couple of players in from Washington Spirit in the United States as well. So they have significantly added to their squad. The biggest signing, though, is Jonathan Heraldez, who's now their coach. He led Barcelona to back-to-back titles. He comes in from Washington Spirit. He's got great pedigree in the game. There's a lot of pressure on Lyon, but at plus 133, I think they'll win this first leg. They've been brilliant in France so far this season. They've won their first 4, 19 goals scored. They beat Paris Saint-Germain, traditionally their closest rivals in the French Premier League, 6-1 a couple of weeks ago. They beat Lens at the weekend, 8-1. Lens had a player sent off late on, but even so, it was still an unbelievable win. And just consider this. Although Arsenal raised their game a lot last season in the Champions League, obviously to win it, they lost at home against Real Madrid. They lost at home to Lyon in the semi-final, the team they played tonight. But they won the return games away from home in Spain and in France. When you look back at that game from last season, the odds were like this for the game in London. Arsenal were plus 240, Lyon were minus money. What's happened since then? Lyon have arguably got better. Arsenal might have regressed a little bit. And let's face it, Lyon did win that game last season. So, there's a lot to suggest that Lyon should be shorter here. I can't really work out why the prices are why they are. Plus 150 was a gift. Plus 133 is still a really good bet for me. It's one I've had, and I might have a little bit more on as well. I'll wait for a little bit of team. You should see what Lyon are lining up, because I can't believe from what I've seen today, and I've commentated on a couple of Arsenal games this season, from what I've seen from Arsenal, I don't think that there's going to be any real surprises. Leah Williamson is still out for Arsenal. Rennie Sager's a great coach at Arsenal, don't get me wrong, but I just think that Lyon should be too good tonight. Just regarding the other games tonight, a quick look at them. Juventus only drew with Sassuolo at the weekend, but had much more at XG against the Italian side. Benfica, the Portuguese league, isn't great. Paris FC have been excellent this season. They've won 3 of 4, but they're priced accordingly against Leuven, who are second in the Belgian Super League behind Anderlecht. And the other game, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, there. Well, Barcelona, although they've lost 1 or 2 key pieces of their squad, they're still very, very strong, and they deserve to be minus 700 or so. Just a quick word about one game tomorrow, because I'm not on tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to play this or not, but I just thought I'd flag it up. Twente have got a puncher's chance at home to Chelsea. Chelsea, multiple WSL title winners over the last however many years it is, and they should win, but they did draw with United on Friday. I thought that was a below-par performance. Twente have won 4 from 4 domestically. Jill Roord had a really good career. She played for Man City. She's back in Dutch football with Twente. They've been excellent. They lost to Chelsea at home last season 3-1. They lost to Real Madrid at home 3-2. I was looking for a +2 Asian line. It's +175 at the minute, 1.75. So it just tempers it a little. It's about minus 120. I'll look at that again tomorrow. And if tonight's bet wins, I might reinvest. It might be one of those. Just in terms of where the money has gone here, in the Arsenal-Lyon game, most of the money on Lyon, most of the money on overs. In the other matches, all the money's come for Juve and overs. All the money's come for Barcelona and overs. All the money has come for Paris FC and overs as well. So all the favourites have been bet, and overs has been bet across the board in the Champions League. So that's the women done and dust with for now. Just a reminder of the newsletter. If you like what you hear on our show, sign up for our newsletter, get exclusive tips and free Insider magazine. Sign up for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. Let's kick it on to some games that we're going to talk about here across the betting football spectrum. Mr. Jack Wright is going to take centre stage for this. First of all, we've got National League, we've got EFL Trophy, and we've got Championnat National. We're going to talk France first of all, Jack. This is Versailles against Villefranche. I don't know how to pronounce the second team. Versailles minus 143. This is French third tier. Had a quick look at some of the stats. 71 games so far this season. The average goals per game is 2.31, which is low. This is second against 10th in the table, but Versailles, who are second, have got games in hand on Rouen, who are in top spots. What are you thinking with Versailles against Villefranche? Do we know, Jack?
I'm going Villefranche.
Yeah,
Villefranche. Yeah. Firstly, I love that the women's analysis there. That was spot on. So we've peaked. The analysis from here on in is going to be nowhere near that. And you've pretty much reeled off all the stats I've got for this game. So, no.
Come on, I'm sure not.
There's not an awful lot. But no, this one did catch my eye. So it's not a league I'm going to be following too closely. But on a Tuesday afternoon in International Week, then it got to the shortlist. So I've bet this myself, actually. And yeah, as you said, second versus 10th, but games in hand for the higher placed side. You look at Villefranche, only 1 point from the opening 3 road trips. So what I've gone for, I sent you the bet over, and the price has changed actually, hasn't it?
Okay.
The goal was over. So the bet was over 0.5 goals by Versailles in the first half, and that's now minus 150.
Eesh.
So yeah, I know. So I was like, I can't believe there's been money coming for this game. So it's on someone's radar somewhere. But yeah, so I'm not going to put that forward. So I've changed it to Versailles.
So hang on. So the original bet was
Versailles to score a first half goal, which was backable, wasn't it? It was like minus 130 around that mark. It's now minus 150, and that's gone out. But I've basically gone
minus
for here
127.
Now.
Minus 127 it was. So that's just over 0. If people want to bet it, it's a lot shorter now. So you've moved away from that one.
I've got on a theme though, so I've now gone with Versailles to be winning at half time. Basically, I kind of revisit the stats and it's worked out okay. But yeah, so Villefranche have only got 1 point from their opening 3 road trips. Versailles scored in the first half of 6 of their 7 league games across all venues. They've been leading at half time in 5 of those, so that then makes this plus money look viable. At home, they've scored in the first half of all 3 home games, and they were leading in 2 of them. So again, that brings it in nice into play. And when you look at Villefranche, they've only scored 1 first half goal in 8 league games across all venues, and in none of the last 5. And they've conceded in 4 of the last 6. So putting all those things together, that said, the first half goal was kind of for Versailles looked a strong play, and obviously it's been backed, so that's a positive. But we've still got that ability to take Versailles. If they score, there's a good chance they score. They'll go in at half time in front, given the other stats against that for their opponent. So yeah, at plus 108, that looked like to me a nice second option and at plus money. So that's the route I've gone down in that particular game. As in, I've bet the goals myself. I got on obviously this morning, so I've got that. But yeah, like I say, I think if they score, there's a more than fair chance, better odds than plus 108 certainly, that they'll be winning at half time.
So Versailles to be leading at half-time is the play. I just looked at some goal stats because I looked at your tip. I thought, well, what's the goal situation here? And although it's a bit of an unders league, I thought that over 2.5 might be a tiny bit of value here at plus 102 or whatever it is. But it's a very sort of minor lean for me. I thought, as you say, Versailles are the team that potentially going to score here, and they might have to do most of the heavy lifting. I mean, I probably won't bet it, but if you want to play overs, what is it there? In fact, and that's been bet down as well. It was plus 102, and I made that basically 10 of 19 home games since the start of last season. Versailles had got more than 2.5 goals, 52%. I made minus 108. Well, it's now in line with the stats a little bit. So at the prices, I'd probably swerve it. I much prefer yours. What about
they look quite split, don't they? But Versailles at home, like all 3 have cashed overs for them: a 2-1 win and a 2-1 loss and a 4-0 win, and then away they've all gone unders. They've won 3 or 4 on the road. But so I think sometimes you look at that split. But I think you're right. I think there's the good chance that they do go overs in this one, but we'll have to do the heavy lifting. But I honed in on those first half stats, which were proper strong.
Yeah, I don't mind that one at all. What about Scunthorpe against Morecambe here? We delve into the 5th tier in England. This is National League football, for those that don't know. Scunthorpe are minus 315. And again, they've been bet. And this is, I guess, Jack, this is one of the problems as well. We're talking about games and leagues where smaller amounts of money are going to affect the prices. So the prices we were looking at this morning or even a couple of hours ago aren't there anymore. Scunthorpe are minus 315. They were minus 265 when I was making my notes earlier today. Morecambe have drifted plus 575. Scunny are 5th. Morecambe are bottom. They nearly went out of business, didn't they? This is one of the games that they've had to catch up on, I presume. Scunny are 5 off top. Morecambe have had all sorts of issues recently, but I think they did get back on track with a draw at the weekend. What are your thoughts on Scunthorpe Morecambe? Yeah,
we're certainly going to take in some glamour spots of the UK on today's slate, aren't we? So we're going to start with Scunthorpe. This is a sort of bit of a double-edged sword, really. Scunthorpe have been super solid, and Morecambe, I think they're just grateful to still be having a team to support, to be fair, aren't they? They are rock bottom. They've got new owners. The first thing they did was to sack the manager, Derek Adams, who'd been around. I think it was his 3rd spell at the club. Wasn't obviously successful last time. They did fall out of the actual EFL, out of the Football League and into the non-league, and have struggled this season is an understatement. And so Scunthorpe have been really solid. The fact they only lost their first game of the season at the weekend, but it was a home game. And again, at this level for me, I look at this quite often. When teams are playing quite close in succession, have they got a friendly itinerary? Scunthorpe, this is 2 home games back to back, so they've done no travelling whatsoever. And then you look at Morecambe, and their away game at the weekend their game at the weekend was an away game, and now they travel again. And they haven't got the funds to do what we see in the top league, so that goes against them already. Scunthorpe's defeat at the weekend was against Carlisle. Carlisle do have someone that would probably our listeners and viewers are familiar with. Mark Hughes is in charge of Carlisle. Yeah. They got relegated from the EFL last season, finishing in the bottom 2. Obviously, Mark Hughes, formerly Barcelona, Manchester United, Man City, Wales manager, kind of dropped down, and he's still stuck with Carlisle, and they've stuck with him, and they've had a solid start. They're 3rd. So that defeat for Scunthorpe is no disgrace. They look to bounce back here. and they've got a really good opportunity to do that against Morecambe, who are bottom of the league. As I say, but thankful to still be in business after new owners come in like very near to the deadline, didn't they? I think they've gone on record saying the target this season is to survive, then we can build and look to bounce back. They've conceded 33 goals in 11 games this season. So big numbers indeed. Trailing at half-time in 5 of the last 8. They've only scored 1 first-half goal in 5 road trips. And so they've been losing in 3 of those. They've already lost 3-0, 4-0 and 5-0 on the road this season. One of those defeats was to Truro, who Scunthorpe beat convincingly. So that's a direct form line. The bet is half-time, full-time. It's one I do like. I like to go with that half-time, full-time when I think there's a strong chance of a convincing win for the home side normally, and then take them, say that half-time does give it a real nice boost to the price. And it was plus money, wasn't it? As you say, it's been moved down now to minus 113, but still very playable for me. Anything minus 120 or better for me, I would play. And I said, you look at that Morecambe performances. Their last road trip, they were their last game, they were 4-0 down in 12 minutes. That's the sort of capitulation we can see from them. That was at home, sorry. Last midweek at home to Gateshead, they were 4-0 down in 12 minutes and went on to get thumped 5-1. But so for me, Scunthorpe, I looked at the teams at the bottom end of the table that they've played against so far this season. 2 home games versus bottom half teams. That's all. They beat Woking 3-1, and I mentioned Truro. They beat them 4-0, and both those games they were winning at half-time, so landed the half-time, full-time money.
Great stuff. I tell you what, Truro to Scunthorpe, that's a bit of a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some terrible ones in that league. There's Gateshead, Hartlepool, which are right in the northeast of England, aren't they? And you've got Truro stuck right down there in the bottom left-hand corner. So yeah,
that is a bit brutal. Mind you, for stateside views, I just think it's a night out.
It's a long way in a bus on the National League team.
Oh dear. So that is the National League, Scunthorpe versus Morecambe. EFL Trophy. Jack's picked out a couple of matches to take a look at if you're betting in the EFL Trophy tonight. 40 matches into the competition this season, 168 goals, 4.2 per match, the average. That is a significant number. 11 of the last 13 games in the competition won by the home side. 10 of the last 15 have been won by favourites. We've had only 5 draws so far in the 40. Obviously, at 90 minutes, it goes to penalties. In terms of the money line, that does not count. So, I don't know, home teams, I don't know, goals. You've picked out a couple of matches for us here, Jack, that you want to focus on. Grimsby against Doncaster, that's League 2 versus League 1. Cardiff against Newport, League 1 versus League 2, I think, isn't it? I mean, Cardiff going well, obviously, in League 1 under Brian Barry Murphy, but they're short prices here, but we know that favourites win. What do we think? Give us your thoughts on Grimsby Donny first up.
Yeah, Grimsby Donny. So I've gone with Grimsby Tyno bet here at minus 113. And anyone following the cup exploits across England this season, we've got a few cup competitions, but Grimsby have already made headlines in one of them. But I kind of I like them here. So Tyno bet, I thought at the prices, they are slight dogs because they are the lower ranked side. They are a League 2, as you rightly say. Doncaster League 1, but did get promoted out of League 2 last season, so they're not like an established League 1 side. These two played each other in league competition last season. Grimsby are normally knocking on the door round about the playoffs. But I find them quite a streaky side, so you want to try and get on them at the right time. To emphasise that, they won 4 of their first 5 games, but then only 1 of their next 6, and now they've won 3 of the last 4. So that kind of shows you how that goes. As I said, in the Cup this season, they beat Shrewsbury in the League Cup. Then they played that big tie, the Manchester United tie, where they got through, albeit on penalties in the end, and then went to Sheffield Wednesday. And sometimes it can be a case of, well, we're beating Man United now, and it ends. But they went to Sheffield Wednesday and they won there as well. And they won 1-0, which, it's not in a shootout kind of style. It was a controlled, measured win and decent performance. So they did lose in this competition to Bradford, but at that time Bradford were really flying high in Doncaster's league, in League 1. But Grimsby took the lead in that game on the 70s, took the lead, and then conceded in the 76 and 90 plus 5. So they were close in that one, and that late goal going right against them. But the last home game they won, and you could say convincingly. They went a goal down, but ended up winning 7-1. And they also beat Salford on the road at the weekend, which is a really good performance. Has kept them up in that the top area of League 2. So Donny have kind of really slipped away since they beat Bradford in the league, which then got them up really, contesting towards the top. They lost 4 on the spin. They did end that with a 1-1 tie at home at the weekend, but that was against Burton, who are strugglers in the league. They're right down towards the bottom. And you look across the last 5 games, they've lost on aggregate across those games 10 goals to 2. So scoring goals a problem, conceding goals a problem. And I think Grimsby at home can get some kind of positive result from that. And say a tie, as you say, it goes to penalties. But that will get us a refund on the stake. But at -113, I like that little bit of safety net as the underdog here, that we can get it on board. But yeah, Grimsby, I quite like it. And so Doncaster, in their last game, they played an Everton youth team, the under-21s, and they needed a 90+4 winner in that to edge past that one. So this competition is one you've got to wonder how important it is to certain sides. And I think possibly Grimsby happy to keep the momentum going. Doncaster be like, the league is probably more important for them to make sure they stay in that, or possibly even in contention further up. But I've gone with Grimsby on the Tyno bet.
Grimsby Tyno bet on that one against Donny. Duncan's been on, says lump on the chair, boys, tonight.
Yeah.
We'll school their under-21s before we deal with their first team in the Carabao Cup. So is that Fulham under-21s for you tonight? That's an interesting double, isn't it? And then the senior side in the 4th round of the League Cup in a few weeks' time. That is a bit of... I wonder if that's happened before. Sort of 20, the same team plays the 21s in an official sort of match, and then they take on the senior side a little bit later on. And I presume there might be the odd player, given it's the League Cup, that might play in both games for Fulham. Wish Wickham well. I've always got a soft spot for Wickham because I used to do the local radio commentary going back a long time, Duncan, before your time, Duncan. What's the other game you like? It is Cardiff against Newport. Now, Cardiff are flying, aren't they? But they started really well, but they've just hit the buffers a little bit. What did they do at the weekend? that game against Orient, wasn't it? Yeah, 4-3. What you got for us in this one, Jack? What do we like? Cardiff against Newport, all Welsh affair.
Yeah, this one, I think the price has moved on. I put the price over to you. It was Cardiff half-time, full-time again, wasn't it? This is now -143. So again, it's gone... Yeah, it keeps... Someone's been looking at my notes. I don't know who
it was -108. It's not me, I can tell you.
I know.
I don't divulge your selections, but that is a big move. That's
huge. That's huge. So I was looking at win to nil in this one, actually, and it's not a market that Bet Rivers offer at the moment. But given the fact that Cardiff, the price on Cardiff normally means that you can then just go on the both teams to score no option, and you're going to get a very similar price to what you would have got anyway. So I'll replace Cardiff half-time, full-time, with the both teams to score no bet, which is -115. I think this would be very unlikely if Cardiff don't win this. And again, with this competition, you've got to look at games, I think, where you think there's going to be some kind of edge to it, some kind of reason behind teams wanting to do well. And of course, this is a pretty local derby, isn't it? Both Welsh sides in this competition. I think it's about 20 miles between the two towns, city town. I think this would be relatively important. They want to have that local bragging rights. Cardiff are in League One now, but relegated from the Championship last season. So they started the season very, very well, had a little wobble, but have got things back on track over the last couple of weeks. They've won 11 of the last 15 in all competitions this season. So a strong record. So it was a 4-3 thriller at the weekend. You mentioned it. They'd bounced back after that defeat to Burton, who we've already talked about, but they are struggling at the bottom end of the table. It was a real surprise defeat there, but they bounced back from that. Both teams to score no has landed in 4 of their last 6 at home as well. So there's a decent trend on that. But I think that they'll keep this Newport side, who are rock bottom of the EFL. They are bottom of League Two, really struggling. And I think they could have struggled here tonight, regardless of the sides they put out. Cardiff will have more strength in depth. Newport will probably have to keep a pretty settled side from the one that's been struggling all season already. Only got 5 points in the season so far. So I just think this could be a real stretch too far for them. And Cardiff have been strong in the cup competition as well. They're still in the Carabao Cup, the League Cup. They're still in there. They've had some good success in that. They've also won in this tournament already. They're a 1-0 win at Exeter. So again, another win to nil. Both teams to score no, landing in that one. And so you look in the EFL Cup, the Carabao Cup, League Cup, whatever name you prefer to use, Swindon, Cheltenham, and Premier League side Burnley. They're beaten to get to the last 16, where they take on another Welsh side in Wrexham. So, it seems that they're using, some sides use the cup competitions to keep the momentum going, and others just want to kind of put it as an opportunity to use some players that aren't getting a lot of game time. So I think the difference between these two sides, because I think for me, Cardiff are a championship side. They just had a really poor season last season. It just didn't work out for them. And Newport, I think, will be very, very fortunate to stay in the league this season. So I think the difference between the two next season, this could well be a championship side versus a non-league side. And I think we'll probably see that tonight. They went to Arsenal under 21s in the first game of the competition, and they lost that 2-1. So I think there'll be a big difference between the two, and therefore I've gone with the both teams to score no, given the price move on the win and the half-time, full-time. So both teams score no at -115 is what I'll put forward for this one.
Yeah, that was an interesting game, that Newport Arsenal under 21s game, because it was a young Arsenal side as well, and one of the few away wins that we've seen. Harriman Anus, the young striker up top, I think he scored a penalty and he missed a penalty, scored a penalty, and they won 2-1. Newport looked all right, and then they faded. It was a bit disappointing for them, and that was at Newport. All the academy sides play away from home in the group stages of the EFL Trophy. Where the money's gone for this one, 74% of the money is Grimsby, Doncaster. Most of the money on Donny, but 62% of the tickets on Grimsby. So a bit of a split there. Are we on Tyno Bet, or we're on half a goal? Are we on half a goal Grims? What are we on for that one?
We're on Tyno Bet in that one.
Tyno Bet
Grimsby.
Tyno Bet in that one.
Yeah.
And Cardiff, Newport. Cardiff money line, 93% of the money on Cardiff, 95% of the tickets on Cardiff as well, and most of the cash on overs. So that sort of fits what we're trying to do with the EFL Trophy games. One more game to look at for you. We'll get Jack's best bets before we wrap up as well. But there is a top flight fixture on the slate somewhere if you dig further down the list enough. And we are in Liga de Mayor in Colombia. This is a top flight game between Millonarios and América de Cali. As you can see, Millonarios are +115. They have drifted a little bit over the course of the day. América de Cali are +250. The draw is +215 here, with the overs and unders very much weighted for unders, as you can see. Now, yesterday we talked a little bit about regression with that Spanish Segunda picks that we had. Hopefully you picked up on that and bet the unders and the both teams to score no on that Cultural Leonesa game. And there looks to be a bit of an opportunity in Colombia tonight. The bet here for me, I'm having this bet tonight, is América Cali on the Asian line plus a quarter ball -105. So if it's a draw, it's a half win. That's the angle we're coming in. If you're braver, you can bet América Cali to win this one. There's one thing that sort of puts me off a little bit there, and we were speaking with Nathan yesterday about South American football, and that it is difficult to win away from home. These are two sides that were really good in the Apertura earlier this season. This is the finalización, or the clausura, if you prefer. In the first championship of the calendar year, Millonarios were second, América were top. They both lost in the playoffs, so they didn't win the title. This time around, they're struggling. It's 16th versus 14th here. However, going back to the regression theory here, both should be doing better. Millonarios are ranked 9th on expected points, but América de Cali should be 3rd. And they've been desperately unlucky if you look at some of the numbers. They have only scored 10 goals so far from 16.5 expected goals. So they're way off the pace to what they should have done. And when it comes to conceding goals, they've conceded 11 from a figure of 8.6. So again, it's a bit unlucky. They should be a lot higher according to those numbers. They're unlucky not to be in the playoff picture. They could still get there. But crucially, while Millonarios' numbers haven't really improved recently, or at least their performances in terms of results haven't improved, América de Cali's have. They've won 3 of their last 4 and are unbeaten in 5. There's a little bit of a caveat here because Millonarios have got a decent head-to-head record. And although I'm not a massive head-to-head guy, Jack, I don't know about you, But
No.
when the odds are pretty much the same, and the last 4 at home for Millonarios against America de Cali, they've been almost identical prices. They've been evens or just a bit less, which is what they are now. They're a bit bigger than evens here, plus money. I mean, is a head-to-head a thing you look at or completely dismiss? Are there certain caveats for you when it comes to head-to-head, Jack?
Yeah, there are caveats. Yeah, I think generally speaking, if you look at games, we had it maybe say with Nottingham Forest getting promoted back, go, well, they've not won against blah, blah, blah for in the last 16. Yeah, well, you have to go back like, even my team at the weekend where Norwich had a 16, I'm going to mention it, 16 year.
I can't believe you mentioned it. I wasn't going to mention it.
I know. I put my head above the parapet. 16-year run, but there was like 12 games in 16 years. So it's like, you know what I mean? How impactful is it? But when sides play each other regularly, and they are normally of a similar sort of standard, as you say, the prices are normally similar, then yeah, sure, I think I'd use that, especially if there's a side that's got particular, like maybe a home advantage, and you think, well, over the last 4 seasons, every time they play at home or every time these two sides play, the home side ends up winning it. I think there's certainly caveats. Generally speaking, across 10 years where so many things change, no, but definitely in something like what you've now talked about there, especially if it supports you arguing, you go, oh yeah, I think that one works.
If you can massage the stats for your argument, then you can certainly use it. That's for sure. Look, it's a negative against my argument, really. But I thought I'd flag it up because I know a lot of people with South American football. They will look at head-to-heads. They will look at home records. Millonarios have only won 4 of the last 12. There's a few draws in there as well. But it's almost like you want to keep that draw on side. It puts me off backing America de Cali at plus 250. But if I can get the draw on side with a small win, a half win, I'll do so. You can do with the Asian line. Just in terms of team news and just in terms of one other player that you may well have spotted for that goal scorer. Let me just take that off just for a second in case no one spotted it yet, because I'll reveal it in a second. There are injury problems for both of these teams, judging by some of the reports coming out of Colombia, but they sort of equal each other out. Both are missing their first choice keepers as far as I can see. Guillermo Rafael de Amoras for Millonarios hasn't been playing recently. He was signed from Peñarol ahead of the Clausura getting underway. He was the first choice keeper starting most of the games in August, hasn't started since. And from an America de Cali point of view, Soto's their first choice keeper. He's been missing recently, but their second choice keeper, Gratterol's come in, 3 clean sheets the last 6. I don't think that's an issue. A bigger issue for the visitors is the fact that both Balanta and Mosquera, 2 centre-halves, are missing. Balanta's been missing recently anyway. Mosquera's a new injury. Eder Balanta was a really good footballer. I commentated on his debut, this is how old I am, for River Plate before he went to Europe. And I'm really surprised he didn't kick on and do a little bit better. He's out. Mosquera's only just out. Yeah, that's a little bit of an issue, but both are missing players. So I'm sort of just going to park that a little bit here. But there's one player that I want to mention, not for a bet, but just for name of the day. Have a look at this one, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't spot it before, have a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Now,
when we put team is parent supported.
when we put these graphics up, ahead of us going on air, we always check with John, our graphics and part producer, along with Troy. We always say, are the graphics correct, John? And 99% of the time, they're absolutely right. And then we might spot the odd mistake, as we did today, actually. But this one is not a mistake. Look at the favourite to be anytime goal scorer here. And this is no joke. It is Beckham David Castro Espinoza. I think he's down as Beckham Castro in a lot of betting lists. He scored a hat-trick the other week. I think he's got 4 this season. He's a striker. He sort of plays on the right-hand side, judging by some team shapes that I've looked at. But his dad was a massive Real Madrid fan and decided to name his son after David Beckham. But I don't know, maybe it was listed as the team sheet Beckham David, so that's what he's called. He's called Beckham Castro, which is great.
I thought he was a fan of Fidel Castro.
Imagine calling your kid after David Beckham, but the other way around. He's bound to score, isn't he? He scored a hat-trick the other week, I think. He's plus 215 to get to score at any time. I hope he doesn't, because he's a Millonarios player. I'm backing America de Cali on the Asian line. Quarter ball start. It's around about minus 105. Might be a little bit shorter, but I don't mind if it is, because there's been a little bit of a move for America de Cali, who, according to all of the expected goals tables, have a look at FootMob. They'll get you some really nice expected points tables for a lot of the leagues that we don't generally talk about. But I think that's a bet for me. Most of the money, incidentally, has come for Millonarios. 94% of the money, 90% tickets. and most of the cash has come for the overs as well. 78% of the money, 55% of the tickets on the overs as well. So, we'll see what happens with David Beckham tonight, playing for that Colombian side. I'm on the away team. I'm going to bet Lyon as well in the Women's Champions League. Jack, what's your best bet of the night before we wrap things up?
Yeah, well, I was speaking to my son Huckabee Darren about this earlier, and my best bet is going to be
There's not a lot of confidence in this best bet. That's what I'm feeling a lack of confidence.
Scunthorpe. Do you know what it was? I knew it went the cup games. It was Scunthorpe. It is Scunthorpe, but I'm very, very keen on that one. That is my strongest bet. And I have got messages through from the darts. If you still want the darts.
Here they go. Darts, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. This is just a simple parlay, but I did message him, just say, have you got anything else so people can go game by game? And he has sent me something through as well, a little bit of info on it. So for the darts, we have got Ross. These are all just to win on the money line. Ross Smith against Darryl Gurney. Johnny Clayton versus Andrew Gilding. Gerwin Price versus Ryan Searle. And that comes in at plus 213 as a 3-leg parlay. And he's just going
I interrupted. Give me the names again. I'll shut up.
Okay.
Give me the names again.
Ross Smith, Johnny Clayton, Gerwin Price.
Okay.
Plus 213.
Yeah.
And he's given me some info today. So if you want to go on a game by game, you want stream it obviously on BetRivers app, and you want a bit of interest in the games. He says something to look out for is the first set 180s, which you can bet on BetRivers under 1.5 180s in the first set of each of the games. And it's last night, which was the first night of it, there was the legs, or the first sets went 1-0-2, 1-0-0-0-2. So only 2 went over the 1.5, and you're normally getting somewhere around about plus 100. It's just maybe minus 120 for the players that more 180s, but a combination of a double start obviously takes that one out.
Double in, double out.
Yeah. And a little bit of an edgy first set, he says, takes the lack of 180s out of it. And had Bunting not hit one in his last visit in the first leg, every first leg would have had 0 180s too. So there's only 1 180 in the first leg of the first set. So which I think you can bet on that as well. So a little bit of info from him. Matt, good mate of mine. Thank you very much for that info on the darts. If they lose, go to Matt, not me.
Yeah, I love it. Grasser, who was putting up some pics yesterday, it's a tough tournament, double in, best of 3 sets, very random. Yeah, I think it's the only PDC tournament that is double in, double out, which makes it tough. I'd never get a score on the board if it was double in. I don't know about you. And I'm the 2023 because we win darts champion. Don't worry about that.
Still reigning champion. We've never given the chance to defend it, have you? Maybe this year.
Again, I don't think. We have got Jack. Thanks for your company. We've got more to come. Tennis and Rory Nigel and Rory on the tennis show, 1 p.m. Eastern. We've got Doug and Mike with the US Sports Live as well from 5 p.m. Eastern as well. So much more content to come tonight. I wish you well with your soccer bets. We know it's a little bit random. Over the course of the week, it gets better. Steve will be back tomorrow. We've got plenty of World Cup qualifiers and international games that are much more meaningful and much more betting friendly, perhaps, than some of the games that we covered tonight. But we appreciate your company nonetheless. Have a good one this evening. From myself and Jack,